inside your bedroom. We stopped counting the days, lost in the rhythm. Physical silence, no need to speak a word. Let you beside me. Don't wanna move too fast. Your lips on the floor, sipping on your love, sipping on your love. I never dare to ask if we're gonna last. I'm needing all your love, needing all your love. Oh, when you move, oh my God, you know you play your cards so right. Oh, I am a sucker for hearts, just in the dirty clubs and diamonds. Take me, oh my God, but we'll hold our faces straight. Oh, I am a sucker for hearts, I'm a sucker for hearts. Your blood is pumping, I feel it in your veins, surfing your heat waves. Your taste is different, somehow it makes me brave. Chemical nature. Don't wanna move too fast. Your lips on the floor, sipping on your love, sipping on your love. Oh, when you move, oh my God, you know you play your cards so right. Oh, I am a sucker for hearts, just in the dirty clubs and diamonds. Take me, oh my God, but we'll hold our faces straight. Oh, I am a sucker for hearts, I'm a sucker for hearts, hearts, hearts. I'm a sucker for hearts, hearts, hearts. I'm a sucker for hearts. Oh my God, I'm a fool. Thought I'd never fall into you. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's so cruel how I'm loving the things you do. Ooh, yeah. Oh, when you move, oh my God, you know you're playing your cards so right. Oh, I am a sucker for hearts, just in the dirty clubs and diamonds. Take me, oh my God, but we'll hold our faces straight. Oh, I am a sucker for hearts, I'm a sucker for hearts, hearts, hearts. I'm a sucker for hearts, hearts, hearts. I'm a sucker for hearts. Too fast, your lips on the floor, sipping on your love, sipping on your love. I'm a sucker for hearts.
Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to the live. Oh my goodness, I have had a very busy week. I have been out of town for quite a bit of it, at least for the last half. I went to a really dear friend of mine's wedding, and that was super fun. I finally put names to faces. This is one of those weddings where we all had mutual friends. It was one of those weird things where I knew the groom and then I met the bride through the groom. And somehow there were several friends of the bride that I grew up with. So it was this really strange connection of worlds, really fun. And I am exhausted. So I loved it. And I loved meeting those people. I met some really good friends at the wedding, but now I am back and I am super excited to get back into my writing routine for the last stretch of July. So I know some of you are also participating, but I am participating in Camp NaNoWriMo July. NaNoWriMo stands for National Novel Writing Month. NaNoWriMo usually happens in November. It has grown into its own organization, and they have camps now. So there's one in April and one in July. And basically for Camp NaNoWriMo, the goal is not necessarily to write a novel in a month, just like the November camp, not camp, just like the normal November NaNoWriMo. In the camps, you can do other projects. But I have set myself the goal this year for July to write all of Angel's book, which is the vampire romance that I've been writing. Angel is a character who appears in book 2 in the Guardians of the Sixth Gate trilogy. He's in Shade of the Shadowlands. When I wrote him in, I knew immediately this is a character that I got the whole backstory for very quickly. And as I wrote him, he was a lot of fun. So I decided he needs his own book. So he's getting his own book. It'll come out in the spring, so 2024. And you don't have to read Guardians of the Sixth Gate. You don't have to read any of the trilogy to read his book. His book is very much more grown up. It's definitely more new adult, and it's very much more romance forward, whereas Guardians of the Sixth Gate was more fantasy forward, urban fantasy forward. This book has a lot of romance in it, and I will say it does discuss some heavy-ish topics. We talk about mental health. There's also sexual content, nothing super graphic, but there is sexual content. So definitely new adult, not my normal young adult stuff. So this is a completely new thing for me as well. So that is what I am working on tonight, is his book. What is everybody else working on tonight? I'm excited to hear about it. Felicia is working on a short story for her website. Speaking of, I need to work on Patreon content. I have not released anything since before I went on this kind of vacation, and I need to organize for the next release for Patreon stuff. Jenna's here. Hello, Jen. Excited to get some work done. I have 7 chapters left to get through today. Whoa. Then I'm done with this draft. Wow. Woo, good for you. You've really been like working super hard, because last we talked anyway on my live stream, you were at chapter like 31, I think. Holy moly, you've been working a lot. Jessica is continuing draft number 2 of my adult romance tonight, currently sitting at 16,000. Awesome. Great. Ooh, and I don't believe I know you. Continuing my work in progress of my psychological thriller. So far, the people who've come across this live stream, so many of you guys write thrillers. I love that. I love a good thriller. When it comes to like Halloween time, I love Halloween, by the way. If you didn't know that about me, it's my favorite holiday. And when it comes to like Halloween movies, I don't particularly care for a lot of the traditional ones. I don't like the slasher films. I like a really good thriller, especially a psychological thriller. I want something that is unsettling, not because it is just obviously scary, but because there's something underlying to it that makes you question things. I really like a good psychological thriller. So that is super exciting that you're working on that. Jen says, I'm not participating this month since I'm going to be done the draft of A Little Luck today, hopefully. And then I am going on a 2-week break. That is fair. That is very fair. I definitely should give myself a little bit more grace in the summer. What ends up happening, and I know is not really a good thing, is I cram as much author writing related work as I possibly can into the summer, because my day job, I'm a school counselor, if you didn't know, eases a little in the summer. We still work a bit because we have to make sure that the school schedule is set for the fall. So that means we have to do that in the summer. So I do work off and on throughout the summer, kind of at my own pace, and as needed. But I try and do as much writing as I possibly can in those 2 months before school starts. And sometimes I burn myself out because I'm working really long hours writing, just to try and front load everything, which has definitely happened this year. So I think that I will also take maybe 2 weeks off before we start back to, well, maybe not 2 weeks, but I'm going to take a little bit more time off as we get closer to the actual start of school. Definitely once we hit August. Hello, everybody. Yep, I got to chapter 44 today on my random TikTok live. I was there. I saw that after finishing part 4 yesterday. Only the rest of part 5 to go. Woo! Man, that's a lot. Congrats to you, though. That's a huge milestone to finish with a draft like that. If you guys are not already following Jen everywhere, so not just here on YouTube, she is Jen's Bookshelf, but also on her social media accounts. I did notice, Jen, that you were live on TikTok, and I've done a couple lives on TikTok. Don't know how successful they've really been, but they are kind of fun. It's just totally different than any other platform that goes live. I thought it would be similar to even like Instagram lives, but it's not at all. TikTok is a whole different kind of live. It reminds me a little of maybe Omegle's. Not really, is that how you say it? Not really a perfect example, but it seems like on TikTok the idea is that that people come on with you. It's not just a one-man show. The fun of it is having the video conversations with people. I could be wrong, but I get so many, when I go live, I get so many invites from people wanting to go live with me. I don't know, maybe that's what it is. Felicia says, I love psychological thrillers. Me too. I haven't read one in a really long time, but as far as movies go, those are some of my favorites. Thank you for popping in. It was lovely to see you. I don't know how much of me you actually saw. I did leave a comment. You were working at the time that I popped in, and I had to quickly pop back out because my toddler has been a little cranky. I think he's going through another growth spurt. Not that he's big enough already. He's huge. He is 3, but he's almost 50 pounds and he's tall. So it's not like he's just heavy. He's just really tall. He's half my size and I'm 5'5". So I had to leave pretty quick, but I was very happy to pop in and catch you because our schedules have just not lined up perfectly. I got back from the wedding yesterday at, let's see, it probably was like 2:00 when we actually got back home. And if you didn't know, everybody else in the chat, Jen on Jen's Bookshelf, she goes live here on YouTube on Saturdays. And so go check her live streams out. They're amazing. I didn't get back until 2, so I did catch it, but it was the very end of it. And then I had to go coordinate things at home. So I didn't get anything done during that, just cleaning the house kind of things. But I was glad to finally make an appearance because I keep missing you. Jen says, yeah, I needed to throw my phone away from me because I was getting so distracted today. So putting the live on was a good way to make myself focus for 2 hours. That is also what I've noticed with myself and going live on TikTok. It helps me to not check my phone because it's being utilized. So I also do that. One thing I haven't done in a while is an Instagram live. Maybe I should do that this next week instead of TikTok. Maybe that's what I should do. Immediately turned off the requests. That's what I should have done because they were just coming in. Every couple people that would log on were just requesting. Maybe that's how I need to do it. I haven't done too many TikTok lives to really play with it yet, that platform, and like refine how to use it. But as I tune in to especially other authors and writers on TikTok Live, I'm slowly figuring out how it would work best for me. So I'm trying. So we've all established a little bit what we are working on. It has been quite a while since I've worked on this book. So I'm going to have to go back to the break. In this chapter, I'm on chapter 10. There is a section break. And so it's only a page back. So I'm going to go read through just to catch up to where I need to pick up from and start from there. So I am, what did I say? 33,003 words in to this draft. I'm super excited. I'm making quite a bit of headway. I'm hoping this next week to have a 10K day. Fingers crossed. I've talked about that forever. I would love to have a 10K day. And so I may do I don't think it'll be like a whole day, but I may do like a pop-up live stream for Camp NaNoWriMo on one of those days. Probably it looks like Friday, because I think that is when Finn is scheduled to be out of the house anyway. So we will see. Be on the lookout for that. Make sure you're following my social media accounts. There is a link in the description, and it links you to all of my things. It's a link tree. So it is the best place to connect with everything that I'm on. So keep an eye out, because I might be going live impromptu sometime this week to get some work done to count towards Camp NaNoWriMo July. So hopefully. All right. Let's go ahead and move to our first sprint of the night, because we are approaching, well, we just hit 16 minutes, I think, into the stream. So let's go ahead and move into that. As always, we will do 3 sprints. They will be 20 minutes each for this normal scheduled Sunday live. So I've got my 20 minutes. There it is. 20. Oh, goodness. 20 minutes up here on the clock. That's there. And we are going to get started rocking and rolling at 33,003 words into this vampire romance. Alrighty, everybody. 20 minutes on the clock. 3, 2, 1, sprint. All right. So I just tallied up. I wrote 553 words in sprint number 1, which is pretty good for me. Pretty normal. I would say that's pretty average for like a 20-minute sprint for me. I'm pretty consistent these days. How did everybody else do? How was your sprint? I am still kind of in the same spot in the story, but I'm moving right on along. It's coming back to me like a lot. Well, definitely came back to me because I had to sit and reread a portion to get into the groove. I am a pantser, if you didn't know. So I plan out the bones, like the absolute bones of the story. And I put all of the muscles and stuff in the middle as I go, if that makes sense. And the last time I sat down to write this book, it went really well. And I was able to outline out through most of the story. And that's coming back to me. So I'm feeling really good. It should be like a really productive night for me. I should blaze right on through it. So I'm getting into it. I'm getting there. So getting there. Dreaming Truth. Felicia said I only managed to get 213 words. That's okay. That's still a pretty good amount for a sprint, honestly, especially if you have to sit, think about things, or if you have something else going on. 213 words is really good. Jessica said, I, on the other hand, got nothing done. I have definitely had those kinds of streams. Like I said, when I was in Jen's live stream from Jen's Bookshelf yesterday, I did absolutely nothing. I unpacked my suitcase, and that was probably the most that I did. So sometimes other things just have to take precedence, even if they are not really our priority. Sometimes life just gets in the way and you have to focus on something else first before you can get into what you really want to do. So I get it. Maybe you'll be able to get something done this sprint. Let's see. I am now at 33,556 words. So feeling pretty good. I did get a little bit, I got a little writing done. Earlier in the day, I added the trigger warning page for this book. I decided there's enough of those big themes involved, especially considering most of my books up till now are more young adult. I decided to definitely put in a page at the very beginning of the book to specify that this is a much more grown up book. I'm going to try and market that a little bit clearer also. So I made that clear, added in some other things about discussing anxiety and mental health a little bit, because for some people, just the mention of it can trigger some things. So that's about all I did, trying to get a lot done today, but the most I did was the one sentence today up until tonight's live stream. So I could not find the Instagram post to sign up to be. Oh, that's perfect. Oh, so you want to be a beta reader too? Oh, yes. Go ahead, and if you want to be a beta reader, speaking of, I'm looking for beta readers for Winter Witches, which is the winter romance with a little bit of a witchy twist. It's much more of like a contemporary romance. Also a little bit more new adult, although it's not, the romance is not quite so grown up. They're all college age characters. But if you would like to read that book and be a beta reader, give me some feedback, just send me your email in like a direct message, a DM on maybe Instagram or TikTok, and I will hook you up. I will make sure that you get attached to that Google document. I would love it. I'm still looking for beta readers for Winter Witches. The original, the absolute first draft is on Patreon, but the finalized, I say final, the version that I went through and edited and added to myself is a tad bit different. It's not super different, but I did grow it up a little bit. So the romance is a little bit more robust. There are some more areas that are more like swoon worthy than they were originally. So if you have read the original draft, because you're a Patreon member, this finalized one is like up a notch. So I would be happy to have you as a beta reader. I would just find me on one of my social medias and send me the email you prefer, and I'll attach you to it. So I don't think I actually have a sign up this time for it. Maybe I should make one. Right now, I don't have very many beta readers on that project. So maybe I do need to put one in my link tree. So thank you for that note. Maybe that's something I'll do tonight before I go to bed also. Jessica says my book will need a trigger warning as well. I think, a lot of people say that these days people are just really soft. I think we're just more sensitive to people and different backgrounds. I don't think there's anything at all wrong with it. If anything, I think if you're questioning it, go ahead and put a trigger warning. Holy crap. Go ahead and put a trigger warning in your book. It never hurts just to give people a heads up about the deeper topics. I think that's a really good thing. So I just tossed them all in today. I said, here are some themes that are deep. They may not even be triggering. Like anxiety is something everybody encounters. It just so happens that in this book, the way it's portrayed is as a disorder. I have anxiety disorders. I have generalized anxiety disorder. So it is more prevalent in my life. And so the way I wrote it for the character, it takes precedence in her life. And you can tell that in the writing. It's a little unsettling, and I meant it to be that way. So I wrote that in case that's going to be something that really unsettles somebody. So I don't think it ever hurts. So if you ever question it, or maybe there's even just a brief moment where you mention something, I would just go ahead and put a disclaimer in that, hey, this is mentioned in one sentence. If that is a problem for you, be aware, prepare yourself, or don't read. That's also perfectly fine. Woo! 836 personal daily word goal. Awesome. That's great. I'm trying to write, my daily word goal is 1,000 words a day. Usually I max out. I usually go past that. And so I set 1,000 words a day because I know that most days when I get to write, I write more than that. So if there's a day where I don't get to write or I don't quite hit that, it is not the end of the world. It's still built in. But 1,000 words a day gets me to my weekly goal count. So that's where I lay it. So that's awesome. Whoa, Jen, you're already on chapter 45. Wow. How many? Ooh, this is a good question. How many chapters are there in A Little Luck? I'm curious. Yes, that's super exciting. You got through a lot. Would the trigger warning be in the blurb? Where would that go? For me, I put it, let's see, I put it between, it's just after the copyright page and the title page. So it's right before chapter 1 for me. That's where I stuck it in my draft. And it's literally just like one sentence where I list out everything. For this book, things that are covered in this book, not all of them are in depth, but they're mentioned. And so I thought this is worth bringing up because even the little things can be really alarming for some people. Anxiety, obviously, there's a little bit of sexual assault that's discussed. It's a past incident, so it's not detailed. It's just alluded to in the book. And there was a third one. I put in there that this book has sexual content because it's a little more grown up. So there is a little bit of spiciness in it. Nothing graphic, I would say, but there is like sex included on the page. And that is not the case in any of my books before. So I didn't want anyone to go into this thinking it was going to read like a young adult novel when it's not really meant for young adults. It's meant for more like a 20 and up, specifically college age. That's when my characters are interacting, is they're in their college age. Usually see a trigger or content warning with the dedication or as their own separate page as an author's note. That's when I put it. Yep, at the beginning. That's when I did. I've never done one before. This is the first book that'll have one. The nano site says my daily average is 1,240. That's a really good daily average. I haven't checked to see what my daily average is with the nano site, although I noticed this when I updated it for camp and put in this project. I thought that I had left everything from before. So I thought that I left my project from NaNoWriMo when I attempted it the last year. And apparently I didn't. I guess I deleted it all. So I have no data in there. So it probably wouldn't give me a daily average. I wouldn't think. Okay, Jen says there are 50 chapters. The after is also 51. Okay, so it's like an epilogue kind of. I gotcha. All right, Felicia says maybe I should get a sensitivity reader before publishing my books. I think that it could always, sure, it could always help. Jen also commented on that. She said sensitivity readers are so important if you can afford to. Definitely a good choice. I agree. If you can afford to get a sensitivity reader, I think that'd be a good thing. I think, especially depending on your genre, it might even be a must. If your book just naturally, like if the overall plot deals with something that might be a little traumatic or triggering or just in general is a deep conversation, I would say that getting a sensitivity reader might be on your to-do list from the get-go. Just to be safe, it never hurts. I usually, with my beta readers especially, I ask them those questions. When I do like follow-ups after I read, I make sure to note, like, is there anything in this that seems like it could be controversial or something that might rub somebody the wrong way? And if they tell me something, I usually switch it, even if I don't think I always switch it if somebody has an opinion on it. I usually almost always make some kind of adjustment, if anything, just to make my intentions clear, because sometimes we write things from our own standpoint with our intentions, the best of intentions, and to somebody else with a different background, it just reads different. And it's not that we intended to offend anybody, but sometimes different people from different backgrounds just get a different idea. So it never hurts to get a sensitivity reader, I think. If I write on more serious topics, I'm cozy fantasy, so it's not overly serious on my end. I definitely search out someone who's an expert just to cover my bases. I agree. Definitely agree. So we talked a little bit about like those psychological thrillers. I think that depending on the psychological thriller, especially, that might be a good genre to go ahead and get one for. Jen says it's also why, since I can't really afford a sensitivity reader, I try to have as many people read my book as I can before publishing. Same. I have several friends from different kinds of backgrounds, not necessarily, not all racial backgrounds, but I have a lot of friends from different cultural backgrounds, specifically like religious backgrounds. And so I have them read my books sometimes, just to get an idea how some things could be construed, and that's really helpful. So maybe if you can't afford a sensitivity reader, maybe just find somebody from a completely different background from yourself. My main character has a passion for finding kidnapped children. Ooh, and young adults. So I will definitely save up for a sensitivity reader. I think it is amazing that you're writing about that, because that is actually a really big issue, especially in the US. That is a gigantic issue that I don't think is talked about often enough. I watch a lot of true crime, and so I hear about it all the time. But if you're not somebody that consumes that kind of content, then you may not know that it is actually alarmingly prevalent in our society, that young people, especially anyone under the age of 18, is being harmed in like kidnappings or a lot of other ways. But we have quite a big issue with childhood kidnapping here in the US, unfortunately. That's not going quite as mainstream as maybe it should, considering how prevalent it is in some, especially some communities. I mean, if you've read my bio, I live in Oklahoma. So I'm in a part of Oklahoma where it's pretty central to the US. And unfortunately, a lot of what they've narrowed down as far as like child trafficking pretty much intersects fairly close to me, not in my town at all, but in this part of the US. So unfortunately, I hear about it a little more than some people in the US, but I think it's great that you're writing about that. I know it's a heavy subject, so I would definitely get a sensitivity reader if you could, because that definitely can be triggering. When I lived in Texas, we would get text notifications of kidnapped children almost every day. I get them not every day, but I do get them a lot. Usually they're really young, and typically it's between the parents. It's not like they've been picked up at like a Walmart. It's usually somebody they know, which is pretty standard in general. That typically, if somebody who's been abused or is kidnapped, it's usually somebody that they're familiar with in some way or form. But yeah, I get them pretty often also. And yes, it is terrifying. Maybe we should move on to something else. Like maybe it's time to move on to our next stream. I'm feeling extra chatty today because I have not done any writing in the last few days. And so it's been fun. I've seen a lot of people, but most of them are music people because my husband has a music degree and most of our friends have music degrees. So it's been a different kind of conversation, which I've loved. Still artsy, which is my thing. But I'm ready to talk about books and writing. So, yes. You guys laugh at me all you want because it is a little funny. Oh, not at all. You are perfectly fine. I think it's a good conversation. We should be having those kinds of conversations more often. All right. So, sprint number 2. Moving on. Sprint number 2, 20 minutes on the clock. I am excited to get going. 3, 2, 1, go. Wow, time really got away from me in that one. I have not had a chance to tally it up. I was hoping to get to 34,000. I did not quite get there. I got 33,943. Still a pretty good amount. I had to stop and look up a couple things in the draft, so I didn't get quite as far as I had hoped. But still mostly normal. I got 387 words. Not as much as I had hoped. Not as much as normal even, but any little bit is progress. So I'm still happy for that. All right. Jen said that spooked me. I was in the groove. I have yet to find a timer that has not scared me just a little bit as I'm writing, or at least like ripped me out of it. I'm thinking something really soft, although I'm afraid that if I get like wind chimes or some kind of soft timer, soft sounding alarm, that I'm going to just continue writing and not even hear it. So the Google timer, it is. Felicia said 280 words that time. That is great. Jessica got 359. Woo! Man, you are cooking. That's a good amount. Jen is halfway through chapter 46. I had to find a name, which swallowed some of my time. See, that's kind of what I had to do. I had to go back and find one bit of information. And as I started to write and then moved on to the next chapter, because now I'm at chapter 11. As I moved on to that, I had to yet pause again to go remind myself of something else because, again, it's been a couple days since I've written. So the little details are not as fresh in my mind as I would prefer. So I had to look. My Little Tomato Pomodoro one is so soft. Yes, I do like it, but I'm afraid that if I used it while I was running the stream, that I would just lose track and just continue. I do like your timer though, Jen. Felicia said, I have heard an owl on someone's timer. I love that. The owl has been and still is the very first thing in all of my videos. I love owls. I adore them. They're just different birds. They're not like any other kind of bird. They're not even like any other kind of predatory bird, which is what they are. They're just so different. And they have different meanings in different cultures, which I appreciate. And also, they delivered letters in Harry Potter. So, it doesn't get much better than that. They are my favorite. They're just so strange. So, I have owls all over my house. I've tried to make them pretty and decorative, although I do have a couple that I've collected along the way or friends have gifted me that are just a little weird and they stay on the bookshelf. But I love owls. They're my favorite animal. They're just so funny. They are super smart. Yes, they are very smart. They're very smart. And depending on your culture, they stand for different things. Like in the Western world, they're very much like a wise figure, which is how I used the owl in a book that I hope to publish eventually. It is a symbol and part for like wisdom, like a kingly figure. I love that. But in other cultures, also speaking of here in the US, my therapist is Native American. And when I told him I loved owls and why I loved owls, he said, I don't like owls because in my culture, they're an omen of death and bad luck. So it's really interesting to me the different ways they're present in other cultures, which only added, after he said that, which only added to my adoration of them. So they're really cool. Love owls and dogs. You really can't get a better pet than a dog. I am definitely a dog person. Cats are great, but I love dogs. Speaking of, June has not made an appearance in our live stream in quite some time. I think she must have fallen asleep on the couch just around the corner in the other room because she's not in here with me. That's not normal for her. Usually she comes and sits with me, but I bet she fell asleep in there. Yes, that was very interesting. Firstly, therapy is great. I think everybody should experience it once in their life because that's just life. We all go through difficult times. If you have the means to seek out and talk with a therapist, highly recommend. They're amazing. They can help you work through some things and help you work through things that you didn't know were still present in your life. Highly recommend. But also, I've learned a lot of other things from him, not therapy related. And the Native American culture has been really fascinating to me. It is a huge part of his life. So I every time I see him, he usually tells me something I didn't know. So really fascinating. June, the lady of the year. Yes. I've been trying to include her in more of my vlogs because she is always around. And she's usually trickling after me, especially these days because I'm home a lot in the summer and I am a homebody. So I spend a lot of time with her. She's my little shadow. And I've been trying to include her a little more because she's adorable and she's very, very sweet. Love June. I don't remember that fact in Brother Bear. I will watch that movie. I love Brother Bear. That's another good one. Maybe I need to rewatch that one. That's one Finn has not seen. Maybe we need to watch that together. He has been recently into well, not recently. He's always been into cars. He loves Lightning McQueen and Maynard. That's all he knows is Lightning McQueen and Maynard. Although as soon as my mom found out that he likes cars, because I'm very fortunate. And during the work week, my mom watches him during the day, which is amazing. Very fortunate. That is not a common thing for most people. And I very much know that. But she watches him during the day. And when she found out he's into cars, she went and collected all of the little Hot Wheels editions of the different characters. I mean, like minor characters, even. And so now he knows all of them. We're all about cars in this household. So maybe I need to expand his Disney knowledge. Maybe we need to watch some others. I've heard that Lilo and Stitch is coming to live action. I loved Lilo and Stitch. Really excited for that one. We have not seen the live action Little Mermaid, although I am dying to watch it. Loved the original. That's one I grew up with. Hopefully, we'll introduce him to the live action version very soon. But the big one in my house is the Barbie movie. I cannot wait to finally get around to that one. So, I think because we are going a little long with our chat, maybe it is time we get into our second sprint. So let's go. 3, 2, 1. Whew, that time got away from me again. Let's see. I have a misspelling, so let's correct that first. Oh, man. Okay. 34. Yay! 34,461 words. That is the end for the stream. So that is exciting. At least I broke 34,000. Still, though, that is a good amount. That is 518 words for the entire stream. So that's good. Let's see. What does that make it for? That makes 1,458 for the entire stream. So that's pretty good. I'm happy with it, with that. I've definitely had worse live streams, so I'm happy with that. I still have a little bit I think I'm going to write on, not a ton because it is 10:01. I try to wrap these things up by 10 o'clock. Sorry, guys, we went a little long. I haven't written in a while, and it was just really fun to talk with you guys about all things writing. Let's see. Jen finished chapter 46. Now on to chapter 47. Only 5 left for the day. That is amazing. Holy, you're moving really fast through this draft if that's 46. Gosh. Jessica says 259 that time. That is a really good word count. 159 words for Felicia. I can't keep my eyes open any longer. Thank you for the stream. Okay, thank you so much. I will make sure to include you in the beta reading team for Winter Witches. Thank you so much. My goal would be to keep like a running log, a list, not a log. Keep a list of names for beta reading for all of my books, not just these books. Although I would say Winter Witches and the subsequent novels are much more contemporary. They're very, the fantasy elements are a subplot for sure in those books. I do have quite a few planned, and I have kind of like offshoots of that planned for like each season, which I think will be really fun. Those are very different. So maybe I will develop 2 different lists, one for more of the contemporary books that I'll publish, and then more for the fantasy, because I do see myself doing both in the future. So I will keep you in the loop for both of those, and you can pick which one you might want to be a part of. If both, that's fine. But thank you so much. I could use all the help I could get. Jessica said finishing the day with 16,803 words. Whew, that is a lot. Yes, we have done so much, friends. Thank you. Yes, Jessica, she says, nicely done, everyone. We have done a lot of work tonight and today, it sounds like, in general. You guys have been writing a little earlier in the day than I have. This was so great. As always, I love these live streams. It's nice to have the company. Like I said, I do plan, I hope to have a pop-up later in the week. So keep your eyes out. Make sure you follow me on mostly Instagram and TikTok. Instagram will probably be where most of the announcements come as I decide if I can do a pop-up this week. I hope so. So be on the lookout there, but I will try to also post to TikTok. Jen says it feels like forever, but I guess I am when I spend the time on it, I guess. Though a lot, I get through a lot. Yes. But there seem to be a long gaps between when I can work on it during the week. Yes. That's normally my schedule. The summer is very different for me. I can work most days because my schedule is really flexible. I don't have to go in. I just do a little here and there, check my emails at work. The summer is much more flexible for me. But during the school year, when I'm back full time, like normal at my day job, It's really the weekends that I front load a lot of the work. I do a little bit during the weekdays. There might be a day or two that I get to write in the evenings, but most of it is Saturday, Sunday. So I know what you mean about doing the most with the time you have. So that is also the way I feel. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm just realizing I didn't change the ticker like at all. It still says first sprint down there at the bottom of the screen. Oh my gosh. Whoops. Well, that's, oops, a little mistake. I haven't made a mistake in a little while like that. Anyway, let's see. Like I said, am ending the night. I wrote 1,458 words for the whole day. A little more because I did write that I did put the trigger warning, the disclaimer in the beginning of the book, but for the most part, I'm at 1,458 for the entire day. I have a little bit left. I think I'm going to wrap up, but for the most part, I'm done for today. Hopefully, I'll be able to tackle a little more tomorrow. I don't have very much planned this week, so I'm hoping for a 10K day. Again, probably Friday. I will let you guys know because I hope to live stream it. So maybe we can write together. I think it'll be Friday. Maybe before then. If I have the time, then maybe 2 pop-ups. We'll see. But I think that is it for tonight. Thank you guys for joining me. Yes, those pesky banners. That is what Jen said. Those pesky banners. Yes. If that is all that I have missed through the live stream, that's pretty good. Normally I'm good about switching them, but we just had so much to talk about, or I had so much to talk about. I haven't written in a while, so okay. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you. The weekly vlog is out. If you haven't seen it, go check my channel. All of my links are in the description box. So check me out on all of these social media platforms. I recently joined Threads. Speaking of things that have happened this week, Threads recently was launched by Meta, so Facebook and Instagram. So I am there. Go follow me there if you have not already. If you don't have an account, go join. It's really fun. It's similar to similar to Twitter, which is a platform I haven't been active on in a while. But so far, I am really enjoying it. Go and check me out there. That is it for today. Thank you for joining me, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Oh my God,